All right, this is Dr. Jason Dean, jumping back into the interview process of Brave TV, and I have a second time guest, Wendy Patrick. Wendy, how are you today?
I'm awesome, Jason. It's so great to be back. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You were a lot of fun the first time. A lot of great information, obviously about humans, but also our furry friends of all sorts, obviously,
Yes.
and a lot of stuff on quantum because you understand the quantum world, and so we're going to dive into it a little bit today. But I'm excited to have you back on, and this is recorded, so we're going to put this up later, probably tonight, and everyone's going to hear some more information about you before we get started because we have a couple things I want to cover tonight, or cover today, I should say. The first thing is you're talking about Lyme. Now, you told me before we came on that you actually are having a little bit of an outbreak, and it's funny because, like for example, I have glyphosate in my lungs that I'm working on getting out over a long period of time because I grew up around farmland,
Mm.
and I think in the natural health healing world, a lot of people think that we're supposed to be, perfect. We're supposed to be totally clean and detoxed.
Oh,
Give us a little background first on what you do, and then tell us a little bit about your Lyme outbreak because I think it gives some reality to people.
uh, it's a weird little thing, and it was found naturopathically as opposed to traditionally because I was tested for all sorts of stuff like fibromyalgia and actually the Canadian standard test for Lyme, but that only tests for one co-infection, so it's very very common to come back with a false negative result. And basically going into that deep, and like you say, everybody expects us to be perfectly healthy, all the rest of it, but I think because we're not, it makes us better at what we do because we understand where other people are coming from as well. And you can also empathize a lot more because you understand what they're going through and the frustrations with not finding out the root or what's going on. But once I discovered what the beast was that I was dealing with, then I was able to deal with it. So that was basically discovered in, I want to say 2017. And I'd suffered for a few years before that with just walking pain, I'll call it, because it wasn't particularly in one place. It was always joints, but it would move from one to the other. Then I had the creepy crawly skin where it felt like you've got bugs running over you all the time, heart palpitations, all sorts of fun stuff. So, what I'm doing with that is a holistic protocol. It's the Lyme protocol that I also use with some of the clients, and identified the bacteria co-infection that I have. So, working with the bacteria co-infection, Lyme formula itself, and also DNA, RNA. So to basically re-educate that immune system and help all those little cells to identify where the toxins are and kick them out. And as you well know, why everybody goes squirrely at a full moon is because parasites like to run rampant. And it's weird because this full moon has been the first one where I've had a flare in almost a year.
This has been a
And it's,
brutal. This is a brutal full moon. And I
yes, it
didn't
is.
expect it, but it has been a pretty brutal one for everyone in our practice as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hearing a few people having some real weird issues and stuff. And usually if I'm having a flare up or even if I have a little sense of something, it's usually just the parasite will sort of be active after the full moon for me. But this time it's been before, like it started last weekend. Monday I was flat out. I did maybe an hour's work. Luckily I work from home, so I have that luxury of being able to do that and still do computer stuff while I'm on the sofa. But it comes through different ways. I'll wake up literally in the middle of the night scratching my scalp raw. I have a part here where it just goes really, really itchy. And I always know I'm having a flare if that starts to get irritated. And then with the pain, the lethargy, just lack of energy, bit of brain fog, wonky eyes, sometimes get some optical migraines with it, which I'd never ever had before. So it's kind of weird. And there's so many different things that it can show as or not show as and be misdiagnosed as. And it's a lot more common than anyone is giving it credit for.
Yeah,
Very
and the
common. And
good
you're
thing
probably
is
finding
you
that too.
you if you had taken that situation to a medical doctor or anybody in the medical paradigm right now, not that they wouldn't be trying to figure out, but they don't have this knowledge,
Hmm.
this education, and you would be put through a battery of tests. You would have
I
all your
was.
blood taken out, not really, but kind of like, you would be literally poked and prodded, and they would come up with probably nothing, or
Yep.
I'm assuming, I'm going to guess they would give you a steroid.
Actually, they upped my thyroid medication and told me to take an Aleve every day.
Sorry, I'm laughing out
I
loud
know.
because I don't know how that would ever help the situation. But yeah, I mean that's the world that they're in. I mean, and it just it gives people reality. Everyone watching this right now gives you reality on that everyone is affected by this. I'm affected by this. I told you before I came on, I'm actually working on getting the glyphosate out of my lungs. I lived on
Mm,
farmland for most of my youth life, or even in
wow.
the country, so it's everywhere. It's even worse
Yeah.
today, and so we're still battling through it. We just happen to have the knowledge base to help other people. And again, you help now. You're helping mostly our furry friends right now, correct?
Yeah, I am. I am. That was the aim for me to then become a practitioner under the doctor who was looking after me. And he graciously took me under his wing, saw something in me, obviously, that I didn't see at the time. And I've applied it to help the animals because I've been working with animals and they've been my passion all my life. But it's funny because whenever I start working with animals, then the people, when they see the results, they go, okay, can you do me now? And that, that comes, and actually it's weird because, as you know, I do the quantum testing and remote testing and stuff. And sometimes the animals that I've been called to test will actually take me away from them and go, no, look at the human, look at my human for me. And
It's
it's
so true.
really, really cool. Yep, really cool.
Yeah, and basically the animal is probably a intermediary to wanting to get the human fix, because animals do probably
Yeah.
take after us a little bit. There's energy there, and it's funny. That's a good way, a segue, diving into the quantum part, because a lot of people. I tried to actually last night give a little explanation of
Oh, that was
quantum and what it
fantastic.
really means, and I only dove slightly deep into it, but that is the connection. I mean, it's interesting. It's kind of
Mhm.
funny. You've heard of people say, "Oh, the person might look like their animal," or not really, but kind of like take on their
Right.
characters. We will actually morph to our surroundings, and part of that is the quantum world. Give everyone a little summary in your own words, because I've done my words, and we'll go deeper. But your summary of kind of the quantum world that you work in and how you see it working.
Well, I mean, that's developing and almost changing every day as you delve into it more as well, because the more you open up to it, the more it tends to not necessarily reveal itself, but the more that you tend to see. And once we take a lot of those blockades away or the brainwashing of, okay, I see you on a TV and that's it, but I can pick up your energy as well. So once you actually can see someone, you can almost put them in the same room. So it feels like we're in the same room chatting than it does thousands of miles away. But once you realize everything is connected, and like you say, everything is energy. So whether it's the tree outside to, the cat lying in front of the window, as chilled out as anything and doesn't give two hoots, but just even sound, frequency, light, energy, and it does sound like voodoo, like you were saying last night. I watched your show, and but it just everything is so connected at such an intracellular level, and it's I'm not, instead of Bob Ross and his happy little trees, I'm now focusing on happy little mitochondria. So it's
It's
like
so true.
dealing right in the depths that you can go. And it's right into the nitty gritty, because once you even start looking at even anybody that, it doesn't matter what you know, what you believe, anything at all, just go and look at what a cell looks like, and not the little 2D drawing that was so basic from your biology class, but go into a real scientific um, quantum look at it. And I actually had a picture put up on one of my Facebook groups or pages a couple of weeks ago. And it was a fantastic photograph of a cell and all the colors and everything that were in there. Now, that's probably been filtered in, but even just to look at that and see all the different colors, what we're seeing at the minute is so minute into where I think, hope, feel that we're going. There's lots and lots of stuff going on. I mean, lots of things coming in the future, and every day almost is like it is a new experience. And if you start to open your mind and open your heart to the fact that every day is a new experience, you then start to enjoy the experience and go, "Hey, this is kind of cool."
No,
So
it
there's
makes
just
total sense. We are part of the quantum world, I believe. But keep going.
Oh yeah, yeah, we are. No, you can take over anytime. I'm just rambling at this point. Because I say it changes every 5 minutes because something else will pop up and just go, oh, look at that. But the more you're open to it, and I wasn't. I wasn't for the longest time. I'm a big Doubting Thomas and was raised in the church, taught Sunday school as a kid, all sorts of stuff like that. So was very ingrained, very indoctrinated and very much believed in everything I was taught, everything I was shown, everybody in a white lab coat, and until they failed me, until after 2 years going on with what I was going on with, not getting an answer. And I wasn't then, I was then, well, I'm a Taurus, so bullheaded as like, that's not good enough. There has to be an answer. And that's when I really started digging and looking and opening up. And since then, it's just it's going tenfold every month, really, with the amount I'm being enlightened, if you like, to put it the
Well,
easiest way.
let's talk brainwashing because it's funny you said something just a little bit ago about the medical paradigm and the brainwashing and the television. So we have every once in a while. It doesn't happen a lot
Mm.
anymore because we kind of kick them out. But you used to have people coming in saying it was voodoo or the testing is voodoo, etc. And in the beginning, we were even using more physical testing. We actually use less physical testing now because you don't. I mean, my wife uses
Yeah,
her fingers. We have a pen that we use. There's ways of doing it without even having to push on an arm or anything like that, technically.
that's
And
right.
it's interesting because the brainwashing really does start right at the beginning because they're seeing on television. The television is they're giving Americans in the world, honestly, their standard, which they believe is medicine. And so when they come in and they find that, like, oh wait, you can push on an arm or you can get a resonator making a noise or whatever it may be, or just intuition. For example, when we're testing people, we just get
Mhm.
the intuition, we get the feeling, we get the indicator of what supplement might be next, what toxin might be in. Like before the testing even occurs, I can pretty much at this point know what's coming. And it's interesting because when kids are in the office, kids, which I believe are technically more in touch with God, they are in the quantum. People just don't realize they're in the quantum because they just see everything around them. They're already there, and kids will actually go and pick out the remedy they need before we ever tested them. And they'll say, "This is what I
Fab.
want. This is what I need." When we test them, that's what they actually want. Have you ever had any experiences with anything like that?
Oh yeah. Probably the best thing to explain that is if I know I'm doing an animal or an appointment coming up or something like that, and I actually have to shut it off now because if I start tapping in too soon, and even though I haven't seen them, I haven't spoken to them, they're people or anything else like that, um, I'll get a feel for what's going on. And a lot of times, the way that I communicate with the animals with it, where I'll start asking them questions, and then if I'm not exactly getting it, I'll go, if there's a pain somewhere in your body, and I'll go through and I'll go, show me where it is. And I'll go, okay, I'm not sure whether that's that or not. Is it that? And it'll amplify the pain somewhere. So sometimes if I tap into somebody or I'm on the way to an appointment, it has happened before in the past, where I hadn't seen the dog. I knew the person from before, and she'd asked me to come over and test the dog. And I was probably about half an hour before the appointment. I was driving down the road, kind of on a parallel to where this person lived, and I got this almost a whoosh, but there's just a thought, if you like, of it's not me, it's her from the dog. And it was the lady herself had huge issues that she needed help for. But because she's of that empathic nature as well, it's like there's something wrong with the dog. And like you say, they pick up on their owners and stuff like that. I mean, you find that, well, I mean, you've heard plenty of stories where dogs or cats or whatever have identified a cancer or something on their person by bumping at that issue or digging at that spot or something like that. But they will pick up, and a lot of them will actually have the same disease or issue. My old guy who passed away, William, he actually had Lyme disease as well, and we have the same co-infection. So it's like, is that synergy? Is that just coincidence? It's like, yeah, there's only so many coincidences, right?
And there's also
But
more than
it was kind
just
of
the
weird.
biological aspect of that too. That means there's an energetic aspect to the
Yes,
actual thing. So even though maybe it's Lyme and there's an infection, there's
absolutely.
an actual physical biological infection that could transfer between the two. There's also an energetic transfer between the two as well, possibly.
Yeah, because it's not just physical. I mean, it's mind, body, and spirit. So it's on all of the realms, if you like. So, I mean, even if you're just dealing with a physical issue, you're also having to deal with an emotional issue and a spiritual issue as well. Once you can get all of those in balance, now there's your real winner if you can get all of those going together.
Well, it's almost like when you talk about, when you have somebody come in that we've seen this in our office. You can tell me if you've seen this with people as well. For example, you have somebody come in, maybe they're financially very sound, very like really sound. They have everything they need. They might have a great spouse or partner. They have kids. Everything is working in their life, and energetically, they are really good. They might have a physical problem here or there, or they might have an animal that has a physical problem. And it's interesting because the physical problem will actually handle itself much faster because energetically everything else in their world is mostly right. Do you see that in the animals as well? As if the human is doing very good, the animal just needs a little work, but the animal would bounce back faster as well?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. That's a very good point. Um, I haven't seen a lot of longer term ones yet, but I have seen it where if one's doing well, the other one will do well. So they will completely echo each other and lift each other up as well, because that, if one's so low, one can't be that high because it comes to this medium range. But if they both start lifting up, that's fine. I mean, there still has to be a little bit of yin to your yang, but you will find that it will help. I mean, it definitely amplifies it and it helps, and it's easier to go up. Nobody wants to go down, and it's easy to go down on your own steam. But I mean, even with the whole Lyme thing, before I knew what it was, of course, there was depression and stuff in there as well. Because why am I feeling so bad? Why can I not focus on anything? Why can't anybody find anything wrong with me? So you then start believing that you've got a big issue and it's all you and it's all in your head because they can't find an answer for you, and then you tend to end up believing I must be making this up. There's something wrong with me, and you start wearing that, and that's an issue in itself, which then inhibits any health getting better because you're hindering it just by your state of mind.
Makes complete 100, it makes total sense. Like I love that you're talking about this, and I'm not the only weird one out there that understands this world because we're like bringing this to a lot of people, but it makes so much sense now.
Yeah.
I want to cover a couple other things with you, and products is one. We're going to do products second, though, because your products are freaking amazing. But before I get to
Oh,
that,
thank you.
you recently are doing some work in the light department, which is
Mm.
also quantum. Can you tell us a little bit
Yes.
about what you've
Oh,
learned in the light? Because I actually have a light system coming that I'm going to be
oh,
playing with
good.
quantum as well. But tell us about what you're finding.
Well, I mean, it had sort of been mentioned to me. I'd known about it, I'd heard about it, I'd seen bits and pieces, and it didn't gel until recently. And I was looking into something, and the whole well, from dark to light, if you want to go to that side of it. And it's like, well, yeah, it's all light and all these colors and all of this stuff that we're supposed to see and we can't see, and the whole quantum realm, or whenever our eyes really get opened and the veil's lifted or whatever. I don't want to go down too many rabbit holes, but it was just looking into it a little bit more, and with the whole energy and now doing a lot of the remote work and understanding the quantum a little bit more. And I thought, okay, well, it's not just light, it's not just energy, it's all frequencies as well. And then it was just like a light bulb went on, no pun intended. But all of these different lights resonate at different frequencies. So I'm like, let's delve into that a wee bit more. So I got myself a little light system, just like a little home use one, which is really quite fun. And I thought, all right, well, let's see what happens here. So I put one of them on one day, and a little orange tabby that I have, and she decided that, oh, she quite liked that. Curled up underneath it, let it run its little course. I just set it on her. She basically settled, was like, oh, I like it there, because she kind of moved around a little bit until she decided where she wanted it. So it's funny, the animals will tell you where they want it, where they need it. And then they just settle down. And then after she had her session, she basically slept for like 4 or 5 hours, just flat out, and then was up and back to her usual badness again. But I've been dealing with a bit of a sinusy thing with her. It isn't an upper respiratory thing. I'm actually working with the liver with her at the minute. So she's going a little bit of a detox, which is helping. But the light thing was phenomenal. Like, she didn't sneeze for the rest of the night. And I did a couple of courses and stuff, and I'm planning on doing a couple more, and then getting more tools and torches and pads and everything else, and just looking at them, where the different light frequencies, they penetrate to the epidermis or the dermis or down into the bone, and then your far infrared going right into your muscle and bone. So it's just fantastic, and it just makes so much sense to do that along with the whole quantum testing and the energy work as well. So obviously I can't do the lights remotely, but it's fun to play with in the meantime until I have other clients close by.
No, that makes sense. It's actually, I got a resonant light machine that I'm actually waiting to be shipped, and it goes in both light frequencies, but also will send out sound frequencies as well, along with an entire booklet of all frequencies, from wellness to major chronic issues to everything else. And the crazy part, this is the crazy part, is you can use it. I mean, there's nothing you can't use it for, but it allows me to marry the two things of the nutritional world from a product standpoint that we're already testing for, but then also marry in the energy / light, the frequency world. And so there's also frequencies you can play with, I don't get into the emotional frequencies only because I don't know it well, but like love. I mean, you can push love. You can put this machine in the middle of a room and just put out the love frequency, and it's going to change the entire area that you're in. So it's really cool, and it's very fascinating. So I'll let you know as soon as I find out how that works.
That's totally cool, because I mean, you can go on to YouTube and stuff, and put on these different meditation frequency music, or uplifting music and all the rest of it, and they're always at different frequencies. So your 432 hertz and 600 odd hertz for higher vibrations and stuff like that. So yeah, it's all connected. It's all incredibly interesting stuff. It's
100%.
lots of fun.
Now,
and you can't do any harm with it either.
What's that?
Oh.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
no, I just said lots of fun to play with as well. You can't do any harm with it. That's the main thing.
100%. Yeah, no, and that is the beautiful thing. There is no harm done. I mean, it's literally just frequencies. So even if something wasn't correct, you would feel it wasn't correct. Also part of the quantum, because it's a feeling you're getting, you're understanding. Right. Go, okay, hey, that's not the right frequency. Let's change that up. And that's actually how you're supposed to listen to your body. That's the entire purpose behind that. So it really actually gets you to look internally, trust yourself, understand how your body feels, understand maybe the emotion or the thought that comes to you, and
Yeah.
actually handle that. Now, you are amazing, and you sent me a little package of your products, which we are falling in love with. Could you give everyone a little background on some of the more popular things that you're using with your furry little animals?
Well, you got the sample of the shampoo, that's all on here. And there's now a leave-in conditioner spray as well. We just actually got our final labels in yesterday for that one. So it's a detangler leave-in conditioner. Um, I mean, basically, the big thing was I needed something that was safer ingredients, cleaner ingredients. So all of the ingredients that I get, I make sure that they're all certified. There's no GMO, there's no heavy metals, there's been no nasty processing to get them. Because when some ingredients are processed to be made, if they're done sort of fast and dirty, if you like, on the cheaper scale, then you'll find that there are some byproducts that are actually created during the processing, and those can be incredibly toxic. But that's not what's used on the label because a lot of people, when you're processing, say, an SLS, a sodium lauryl sulfate, when they're making that, if it's too high a temperature or certain ways of formulating that or processing that, there can be a byproduct called 1,4-dioxane produced. Now, 1,4-dioxane is a very little known about factor, unless you're one of these people who go onto the EWG board to look up ingredients, which there's not enough people doing, otherwise no more would know about it. But 1,4-dioxane is a known carcinogenic. So that's where a lot of the fear mongering and bad press, if you like, came out in the 80s when they started going on a smear campaign about SLS causing cancer. Look at the American Cancer Foundation. There are no proven studies or anything to show that SLS causes cancer. However, it could be the byproduct, the 1,4-dioxane there is. But you're not going to know when you pick up that bottle off a shelf whether that SLS has got a good processing behind it or a bad processing behind it. My general rule of thumb to find out whether it has or not is A, price, and B, marketing. If it's an expensive product, theoretically, it should be a good one. But then if you look at the marketing and they're spending billions of dollars in advertising, glossy mags, TV ads, um, endorsements from this and that one all over the place, plastered around on shelves and leaflets and brochures and coupons and you name it, then all of that costs money. So that's coming out at the end consumer is paying for the product to pay for all of that marketing gimmicks, if you like. When really, even if people knew how to muscle test, they could pick it up and ask if it was safe or not. But, but I did one then with no SLS in it. And it's actually kind of funny when you bring up about the ingredients. I go into the whole parabens and stuff, and that's one thing that's not in mine either. Parabens are basically cheap preservatives. Very, very common. Very, very common now that people are taking them out without a lot of marketing around it. Interesting. Perhaps because they know now after the decades that the building up of the parabens in people's systems are causing all sorts of issues. I think it was the breast cancer. Sorry, not sure what organization it was. It was about a year or so ago. They did a new study and found that 97% of breast cancer tissue that had been removed had been tested. 97% contained parabens,
That's
which is
insane.
insane. It is absolutely insane. So I mean, you think, oh, it's completely, harmless. Yeah, all right. It's harmless until it isn't.
It's going to cause
And that was
problems in the
it.
body somewhere. I mean, it's gonna cause issues. Before we finish off, I will say I was very impressed with your quote unquote CBD oil. which is made of a lot of different oils, no THC, so it is completely, basically non-toxic in every way, shape, or form. Finish us off telling us a little bit about that product, because that product could be world changing.
That's what my aim is. It really is. And I've had a few people in the CBD world have a look at it and not believe that I was able to come up with that formulation on my own, which I did. And it was because CBD is completely, it's legal in Canada, but that's like saying driving is legal. You need a license to do it. So in Canada, you need a license to sell it, and there is actually nothing approved for pets. So whenever we were shut down with that, I had to find something else. So one of the reasons it's called smart oil is because it's smart. It doesn't have anything other than the hemp seed oil as the base, and there's no CBD in there's CBD in the genetic information in the seed, but that's not going to be utilized until the plant's at full maturity, because it's like saying you can get orange juice from an orange seed. You can't until that plant's at full maturity and it produces its fruit. So with just going deep into phytocannabinoids, sesquiterpenes, things like that, and finding out what else on the planet had these different attributes, and find out that there was quite a few, but individually they weren't really that wonderful. Actually, dragon's blood, that's one of the ingredients. That was something that I've been using for a while before, and something that is sometimes very useful for some of our Lyme sufferers, because that can help a lot with Lyme. But I didn't test yes for it. So that was disappointing, because I'm always like, oh, what's going to help this? What's going to help this? But once I put the blend together with the smart oil, I test through the roof. I take it daily. And whatever it does, whenever you sometimes, it's like making a cake, really. I mean, if, here's a handful of flour. Well, I'm not eating that on its own. But once you put the eggs and the sugar and the milk and whatever else into it, and you make it up, well, hey, it's something good now. So it was the same idea with all of the different ingredients. Like, okay, this has got great attributes because we've got our omega-3 6 is still a perfect balance from a land source. With the hemp seed oil, we've got all this wonderful stuff with the copaiba. I mean, the sesquiterpenes that it has, it's got the beta carotene in it, or BCP, which is a sesquiterpene. Some people will market that as a CB or a cannabinoid. I don't believe it truly is, because it's actually an approved ingredient in Canada as copaiba oil. And if it was cannabinoids in it, it would be under the restricted substances list with the CBD. So putting them all together, they just supercharged each other, and it was just getting that right formulation right. And I test every single batch that's made, every single ingredient before it goes in, when it's in, and do the mixing and everything. It's all hand done, all by me. So I have complete and utter control over it. So I know every bottle going out has all the right mixture in it and the love.
No, it's a brilliant product. When I saw it, I was like, wow, that is amazing. Where, Wendy, can everyone find you, but also your product? Where's a good place for them to do that?
Right. Well, where you can basically kill two birds with one stone is go to dogsofpride.com. And that was my main parent company. That's got all of our products that are available for purchase on the store there. Finessiumhealth.com is where you can find out more about what I do on the health side of stuff and contact me through there. If you want to do an appointment, we deal with everybody all over the world. And we have some videos on YouTube, Dogs of Pride. And we're shifting a lot over to BitChute now as well under Finessium. So lots of different ways, and then you'll find us, just creep us like crazy. We pop up all over the place.
No, that's awesome. I thank you for all your service. You're amazing. What you're doing is phenomenal work. And as always, I appreciate you being on the show. You're amazing. And Wendy will be on the new Brave TV network, so look out for that. So Wendy, thank you very much for being with us today. You've been amazing as always.
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Dane. It is an absolute pleasure. Yeah, think the world of you.
You're very welcome, and we'll see you soon, everybody. Have an amazing day. This is Wendy Patrick, Dr. Jason Dean, Brave TV. Talk to you soon.